Hi peeps, welcome back. I'm Zen and this is, I believe, video 7 of the Figma series. In this video we are going to create this About Me page and then we are going to follow it up in the next video with this version here. Okay, so it's roughly the same, we just made the video smaller and moved the rest up. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so we can see in this first version, it's a very simple layout. We have the About Me title at the top here, followed by an image which is there to represent a video, and then with just some basic information along the bottom. As you can see here, it's made in Figma, so that's what we need to do. We need to open up Figma and go to our Seaside base page that we've already created. So let's do that. So here we are in our digital portfolio, and just a little note here, you can see that we've got our base page and the index page, and the index page looks empty. Okay, it looks identical to the base page. This is sometimes a little issue in Figma. Don't worry though, if you actually just double click on it to open it up, you can see it is all there. It's just sometimes it doesn't always render all information in its previews. Let's get back to files. So next thing we need to do is to actually create the About Me page, and we do that like we did with the index page, where we right click on the base page and we select duplicate, and then we rename it, and we're going to call it About. And then all we do is, like we've done before, just click into it. Okay, so here we have our page, and so first thing we want to do is to click on the desktop to reopen up our grid, because we want to make sure that we put the About Me title in the right place, which is up here in the middle. So the way we do the title is quite simple. We go and get the text field, and then we click and drag across both of the columns. You can see that it's not quite perfect because the width there is set at 421, and that would imply that I haven't got this left-hand edge in properly. We'll sort that out in a moment. But first we need to type in About Me. Now, as you can see, I've got the text about right already. The font down here, you can see, still Courgette. It's set at 72. It's the wrong color though, so I'm just going to highlight the text, change the fill to pure white, and then I'm going to center align the text. Now with that as well, I can also change the X position to 440 and set the width to 421. In reality, no one's going to be able to tell the difference to that. We're talking about it centering half a pixel, so it may not have even moved at all, but it's always nice to get it about right. And then just for tidiness, I'm just going to shrink down that. In fact, what you can do is to select the auto height option, which will often minimize it as much as possible. The next step is to add the video. Now, unfortunately in Figma, you can't add actual video. Okay, so what we need to do is to add a screenshot of a video instead. And the way we do that is quite simple. The first thing is we need a video. So one of the reasons why we've got a video in the About Me page is simply because in the Unit 3 specs, one of the requirements for the distinction criteria is that you must have an animation or a video. So some people, they will put that video on their front page, on the home page. They might have a little introductory talk there instead. Other people will put it on the About Me page or on this additional page that you'll be creating in your own special interest. Now, for other people, they also say, well, when you're doing, I can't remember if it's Unit 4 or Unit 6, which is the animations module, you can put your work from there in there, so you can actually add your animation, and that will be sufficient as well. But it's always good to have more than one video or more than one animation on your website. You know, rather than just having the minimum requirement for the spec, it's often a good idea to have a full set, or, you know, several versions to cover you. One of the problems is, as I said before, we cannot actually show video in Figma. Figma does not understand the file format. What we have to do instead is to use an image to represent the video. And it's a good idea to use an image of the video itself. As I said before, it's best that, you know, you don't see actual video of me. And to be honest, if you saw my face, you perhaps wouldn't want to either. So what I did was to use one of my, well, not one of mine, one of the websites I use often for videos, in this case Mixkit, where you can get royalty-free videos. And I just typed in man talking and got this video. So you then have two options. You can first download a video, which I would recommend you do if you're following along, because we're going to be using this video later on when we actually build a website. So we do need a whole video for it. And then you can play it in your computer straight away, take a screenshot, or you can just do it in the website. So you press this button here, which maximizes the screen, and then we can let it play a bit until we find a screen that we like. Maybe there we go, that'll do me. Looks like I'm very intelligent and trying to work hard or something. And then I'm going to take a screenshot. So there's two ways of taking the screenshots. I've got two monitors, so I'm pressing the Alt button to make sure that it only selects this active screen. And then I'm going to press the print screen button on my keyboard. If you've only got one screen that you're working with, then just the print screen button will be fine. Then I'm pressing escape to minimize that, going back into Figma. And then I'm going to draw a rectangle. So I'm going to draw my rectangle from about here and down. I'm going to go right across 4 columns, which is fine. And I'm going to bring it down to about 500 pixels. Okay, the actual dimensions, you know, should replicate the dimensions of the video you're shooting or the video that you're using. That's very difficult to see here. That video is a 1920 by 1080, so we can actually work that out a bit better, because if we know the original ratio, so 1920 divided by 1080, we've got a 1 to 1.7 ratio. So what we can do is add that to memory. I hope that's what it's done. What we can do is then take the 860 and divide it by that value. And there you go, I get the height of 483.75. So I'm going to round it up to 485. Okay, I'll just change it here to get it right. And that keeps it in the same aspect ratio as if it was full screen. And now all I'm going to do is to select the rectangle and press Ctrl and V to paste it. And there it goes in perfectly. So it's now a perfect fit to that rectangle. Okay, and that is how it would look if I kept it like that. You can see it's nice and easy, no real issues there. The next thing we want to do is to add our text. So again, it's just a text box that I'm going to add to the bottom here. And again, I'm keeping it underneath the image. I'm kind of using this first and last column as a kind of unofficial margin. And then all I need to do is to add my text, and we're keeping it in courgette. We're going to want the text to be white. And we're probably going to need to reduce the font size. We'll get it at 14 at the moment just to see how it goes. Now the text we use is really about being personal. Okay, you know, it says about me, so it should be about me. Obviously, I'm not going to give you loads of info about me, but I'm going to put some truths in there. And to save some time, I'm just going to paste some text in for you. Now we can see in this text it's actually a bit difficult to read it because of the background. So first thing we do is actually we will set the desktop and we will get rid of the layout grid to help it make it a lot more readable, but it's still not perfect. So we use the same trick that we did with the navigation, and that is put a rectangle with a semi-transparent background, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So we bring the grid open once more, we select the rectangle tool, and then we're going to basically draw over the text, and we're going to change its fill color to the semi-transparent one that we've got from our document settings from when we made this one originally. And now the problem is, and again, let's just get rid of the layout grid, is actually sat on top of the text, and we can see that here. So all we're going to do is click on the rectangle and drag it below. If it'll let me, let's try that again. Click on the rectangle and drag it below the text. And now we can see the text is a lot easier to read. The other thing we're going to do is just to actually, with the text selected, we're going to bring the text in a bit. So we sort of add in a little sort of padding to the text, and I'm just going to bring it down just like, whoops. So you can see I've moved the text down, so it's now nicely padded inside the semi-transparent background. And here you can see actually the background color is now more of a grey than the blue that I thought it was originally, and that's fine, it still works, it's not a problem. So what we need to do now is actually just to preview this to make sure it looks okay. So we go up here and we preview it, and what I suddenly notice here is notice how this text is hidden along the bottom. And I suddenly realised there's actually a little bit of a scroll. Okay, there's a bit of a scroll here, and so what has caused that? We thought we had it perfect. Well, we didn't. The thing was, and it's a mistake on my side, and I'll just show it. If I go back to files, if I go and add a new file and add the frame, I chose desktop at 1024, but that is too much. Okay, that is a little bit too much in the height. So I basically made a mistake with the height issue. I thought that Figma would have got one which stops a vertical scroll. Now, a little bit of messing about let me realize that what I need to do is to change the height of this to 960. And basically the only reason why I know this is because I messed about with it. And we can see now we get a slight problem that the text is being cut off a bit. Okay, so this leads us time to modify our text a little bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just highlight the text, and I'm going to change the font size down to 14. See, that's a little bit too small, so let me try and put in 15 and in between text. That seems okay. Let's change that, and now we can also, with our rectangle, reduce it so it just covers it, and then we can go straight to preview, and we can see that fits in fine. Now the text I've put in here is, like I say, it's a bundle of half-truths. Okay, I'm claiming I was born in Torbay Hospital on a date, that I have an older sister and a younger brother. I lived my whole life in Tingmouth in Devon, and say 8 miles from Torquay. I love being by the sea, which is true. I like water-based activities, that's true. I've included stuff, swimming, windsurfing, kite surfing, scuba diving. I hold a PADI Advanced Open Water and Night Shots qualification, which is also true. And I hope to dive at the Great Barrier Reef and the Maldives and off the coast of Mexico. I really would like to go to those places. Also enjoy all types of power kiting. My favourite kite is still the 8.5 metre squared Blade 3 that I've got, even though you can't buy it. And then finally the interesting bit in computers, when I started to program on an Acorn Electron computer, and then when I did my physics degree, Pascal, C++, Fortran, and then how I moved into Flash, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and PHP. So, you know, it's a nice little history about me, and most of that is true. Obviously, when you're doing this for your digital portfolio, you'd put in true information. You know, this is sort of an idea of the type of things that you could do. And, you know, this is an absolutely acceptable version of the website. There's nothing wrong with this web page that would pass, you know, the criteria needed for the site without a problem. But, you know, some people might think you could do a little bit more. And that's what we're going to do in the next video. In the next video, we're going to take this to the next version where we have, where we make the video a bit smaller and add some images. Like I say, this is totally fine, this version. I just want to show you an alternative using the same information. So as always, hope this has been useful. Please like, subscribe and comment. You know, tell me how I can improve this. Join me in the next video where we take this to the next stage further. This is Sam signing out.